University Hospital, where he'd been admitted since September 4 after complaining of intense pains. Among those paying tributes for Professor Chevannes, who is survived by his wife and 2 children, are the Prime Minister and the opposition leader.
Every murder creates such pain and deep hurt among the many people who are affected. And, you know, it is just that we have to work harder. We just can't give up hope, you know, that one day people will see that it doesn't make sense to settle disputes through this kind of violence, lethal violence. We need to talk it out. You know, there's a better way. It's a win-win way.
Professor Barry Chevannes walked the talk passionately for his country and all Jamaicans. He had many visions for this piece of rock, and as such, in addition to his outstanding years of contribution as a lecturer at the University of the West Indies, this dedicated Jamaican took on the mission of making better fathers of our men when he established Fathers Incorporated. The aspirations of this sociologist towards a turnaround in the social ills saw him speaking out for the poor and focusing special attention on the inner cities. Prime Minister Bruce Golding, in acknowledging the work of Professor Chevannes, sees his death as a tremendous blow to the academic, religious and cultural communities. For it was Professor Chevannes, in his role as a leading activist for peace, who headed the Violence Prevention Alliance, which launched a Safe Community campaign in 2006. In the words of the proactive leader, the more intense the violence, the bigger the peace movement has to become, as part of the plan to show there were more people for peace than violence. Opposition leader Portia Simpson Miller, among other things, reflects on Professor Chevannes' talent as a prolific songwriter and the lyrics of his Forward March Against Imperialism song, which he says stands as a metaphor which describes his world views and outlook towards the development of the people of the Caribbean. The Ganja Law Reform Coalition, of which Professor Chevannes was chairman, has emphasized that it was his trident commitment to social reform and his will to make Jamaica a better place which led to the government's first thrust in implementing the recommendations of the 2000-2001 National Commission on Ganja. Such was the man of Pan-Africanism, a noble giant of goodwill, Jamaican-bred Alston Barrington Chevannes. And Professor Chevannes' work to highlight the benefits of decriminalizing ganja is also being praised by Paul Chang. Mr. Chang now heads the Ganja Law Reform Coalition and says the work of the late professor played a central role in having fruitful and logical discussions on the need to reform the law on ganja.
The recommendations of the commission which he founded, which was further supported by the Joint Select Committee of the Houses of Parliament, and have sort of remained in the doldrums since 3-4 years ago.
And not only was he involved in the entire issue of reforming the laws pertinent to ganja and the use thereof, but Dr. Gale, where it concerns fathers and fatherhood and ensuring that our men stand up to their responsibility. Tell us about that aspect of his life.
Prof. Chevannes' concern, you know, Fathers Inc. was formed in 1991 by Professor Chevannes. And his concern came...
And that from Live at 7 a short while ago. A controversial police shooting in West